Hello and welcome to today's session. We've got an Apex Trader Funding 50k challenge today. Overnight, what happened was I had a 300k, had a bit of a drawdown mishap earlier in the week, and unfortunately the market disrespected the pivot points and just continued up above the R3. Really got to work on my exits. Basically, I was expecting it to come all the way, perhaps down to the close gap, but even if we made it down to this high, it would have been sitting very nicely. But basically, the market ignored all the levels I was hoping it would react to, and I wasn't able to get out at this little point here. So that's okay. 300k has not been passed because of that, but we've got a 50k Apex Trader Funding challenge today. What I will be looking to do is analyze these markets, see what we can identify, and see if we can hit this 3k target over the coming week or two. Basically, same as always, guys, I'll be using the order flow and the pivot points to try and determine what's going on in the markets. Now, we've got a 3k target on the 50k, we've got a 2.5k max trailing drawdown, so I'm going to be aiming for nice short and sharp bursts of trade. I'm going to try and work on cutting the trades if they're not going in my favor, and that's something I'm going to work on in front of a live audience, so with you guys, sharing my experience and trying to develop that skill of me exiting the market when I need to, and we'll see how that pans out. So basically on the pivot points, what have we got here? So we've got very spread out triple banding. So it's not really triple banding, it's just the pivot points have been kind of sprawled out. We've got the R1, we're kind of rejecting off that at the moment. Potential to hit this previous day's high and close. Perhaps very similar to yesterday in the sense that if we do kind of, I'll just pull that out a little bit further. So we kind of opened just above this previous day's high. We didn't even touch the extreme gap that was created. So that actually forms quite a strong target. So we may actually get down and hit that at some point. So just make a mental note. Often I'll drop in a line like I have down here for this close gap, and it will form quite a strong target in the future. So it's just something that sits on the chart. Eventually, when it gets close enough, it might be impactful enough to watch. It may not get there today, of course. It looks very similar in a sense that we are above the high, but we closed close to the high. So we've got the high and the close gap. So extreme gap, close gap from yesterday, very close together in essence. And you know, that forms quite a good target, but it may not get hit once again. We may just power on up, depending on what the market wants to do. So today we'll be using all of the analysis tools that we have at our disposal and try and identify what direction the market's going in, navigate it in a live setting, and buy and sell accordingly. Basically, the market will power up, I would say, come up and hit this R2 level and then reject back down towards this previous day's high, I would assume. But we'll see what the market actually brings us. It may not do that, of course. So we're just really waiting to see what actually happens. Now we've got 8 minutes till the market opens. And basically just waiting out the market. So I don't like to get in too early because the market has very impulsive moves at the open, and sometimes the end of that impulsive move can help us get in at a really good strong position and hopefully create a good opportunity, good risk reward, and a nice strong start to this account. So basically, to get this account past the into funded status, I need to get to 53k. I think there's a 30% rule, I believe, so I've got to get it over a series of days, and I'll be watching the order flow as well as the pivot points to take me in. Have a quick look at the monthly. Bearish. Looks like we did reject. We got very close to that close gap. I'm guessing that perhaps some people have called that filled. I'm not too sure. It was about 16 points away on the charts that I was looking at. Really strong rejection off that mid Bollinger Band line, and I guess hitting that close gap kind of area. So it's quite bullish activity, mostly stemmed from yesterday really. We've got the daily. So yeah, as you can see, we were outside of the Bollinger Band the day before, and then yesterday we just had a really powerful move up. Broke a lot of the levels, and it's kind of recalibrated today. We're kind of at the high of the recent, well, not quite the high, but on the upper limits, I guess, of that range. On the 4 hour, nothing of interest there really. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. On the 1 hour, we've had a really strong hour pushing up into these levels, and hopefully we will get some turnaround at the open. If we get a bit of acceleration, perhaps come up and touch this R2, we might get a bit of a rejection. Looking for perhaps some ins and outs quite quickly. Just going to check Apex Trader Funding, see what volume limits I have for the 50k account. There is currently 80% off these accounts, which is really cool. So you're only really paying 20%. Use code GFT. So I can do 10 contracts or 100 micros on the 50k full. So I don't know if I can actually trade the FDAX at a full contract or not, or if that's a mini. But I'll give it a go. I'll see if I can trade the full contracts. I'll be getting in and out very quickly. Noting that if I do want to do a reverse and cancel, if I click that, it seems to, if I'm in a live trade, it'll act on that when I click it. So I'm just going to leave that there. I'm not going to change it just in case it puts in a rogue order, which I don't want to start off the account. I want to play it nice and safe. But basically I've got 10 contracts that I can play with, which is really quite massive. So maybe I've been looking at it wrong. I've been sort of meandering about a little bit too much. I've got to make a bit more profit when the market shows its time, and get out quickly and then move on and hopefully get funded a little bit quicker, rather than trading really well and then getting hit with a losing trade that I stay in, which is what I have been doing. You know, I hang in there and hasn't been panning out. Hi Odd Project, thanks for coming along and joining. Are you trading the DAX yourself? So what we're looking at today is basically the FDAX contracts. I've got the FDAX Z5. We recently rolled over from the September contract, and we're on the new contract now for about a quarter. I do have the Eurex upgrade as well. That's important to note. So with Apex Trader Funding, you do need the Eurex level 2 data to be able to access the FDAX and trade the FDAX on the Apex Trader Funding accounts. Now, what I'm probably going to do at some point, I'm going to trade the DAX today, but possibly at some point in the future, there is a pattern recognition tool on the Forex charts that I find quite good with the Apex. You know, it sort of takes the edge off figuring out what trades you want to take. Got 16 contracts up here as a possible aggressive sell, but it's pre-market, so I don't like getting in at pre-market. I do still have a couple of accounts. I think they may expire soon, but if you're there and you're hanging around and you watch to the end, I do have a couple of free accounts to give away. So I'll just type that into the chat. 2 free accounts to give away still. And obviously to win, I do like you to be active in the chat, just so we have a bit of back and forth. I'm just going to test one contract today, but I'm going to perhaps increase that. So 250. So basically, if I have a 10-point move in the wrong direction, that'll be 2.5. What I might do is I might trade somewhat light and quick for the first few days, and then I'll start going hard and going for that target a little bit more proactively. But there is that 30% rule, so just trying to think if I want to get maybe 1K per day. So yeah, I'll start with the one contract. I'll make sure it does work on the full contracts. We've got 1 minute till the open. Basically, there wasn't really much in the way of the longer time frames in relation to the Bollinger Band. The 30-minute might have a play, only if we push right up though. 15-minute, we're already there on the outside of the upper band, so that'll be helping push the market lower. And we're kind of hovering on this R1. We've got an extreme gap here at the high, and then we've got the close just below it. So it forms quite a powerful target. The combo, they're really quite close together. I'd imagine that we will fill this, but I have been wrong before. I was wrong yesterday, and that's why I've got a 50K account at present. Just waiting for this open. We've got 15 seconds to go, guys, so hang in there, bear with me, and I'll be talking through what I'm trying to look for. I may get in near the open if I see an opportunity to sell. I'll see if I can make it happen quick enough. Okay, I'm in short. It looks like it's kind of building long though. See if I can just get $75 out. Get a little push down, that'd be nice. There we go. So yeah, $75. It didn't slip me, which is nice. I'll see if I can get in again. If it does come back up a little bit, I'll just play around this level if I can. Okay. Seems to be pushing down. If we break this little low here though, I'd say the market might be coming down. I'm in again. Looks like I might have disconnected there, guys, for a little bit. So I'm 250 down. It's kind of at the high. I'm going to get in again, so I'm in for 2 contracts short. If we can push down quite quickly, I'd be very happy. I've got to have my finger on the trigger to get out as well, because we've got, what, 2.5K max drawdown. Looks like it's forming a buy pattern in a sense based on this this volume, so ideally I'll just get out, put 2 contracts there. Oh no, pull it out. I'd love a big strong push down. It's kind of hovering right here. Okay, looks to be getting away from me here, which is not ideal. If this continues up, maybe in a bit of strife, because the stop's kind of all the way above this breakout long really, which really squeezes the trailing max drawdown. I'd love a little bit more of a push down just to take me out, and then I can look for a better entry later on. But the market's not being very forgiving right now. It's got the last price that's getting hit up the top here. There's no real indication that the market's going to come down. But we're at these highs, these levels kind of indicate that we're at the higher levels. And we do have the extreme gap and close gap. But it's really just about trusting that people will take that stance. But it may be very similar to yesterday, where we kind of fake out a push down and then just blind buy for the rest of the night. So that is a concern for me. Kind of just teetering on my entry. It's not quite getting me out. I just love a little push down so I can get out of this position without being hurt too much. Okay, so up 125. I didn't want to hang around, and what I'm going to do now is basically wait for a proper setup. I tried to use the volatility to take me in and sort of swoop in the right direction. I didn't see what I was looking for particularly. If we saw a really big ask order that I always talk about in these sessions, then perhaps I would have been more confident to hold that short position. Now, while we are coming down for the moment, it just didn't feel like it was going to be a firm movement. It felt like it was kind of going to dance around a little bit. But if we do break this low here, then I may be tempted to sell again. Obviously cautious that we may... yeah, okay. And that's what I should have been waiting for. So we've got 12 contracts. I'm going to look for a buy down at these sort of... we'll probably see quite a bit of volume come in once we hit this previous day's high in particular. Perhaps even the close we might get down to, but that's really thin volume. Now, if I had have stayed in for 2 contracts, would have been sitting very nicely. We've reached the close, or the previous day's high. We'll see if we can make it all the way down to the close, and then there'll be some aggressive buying, I would assume. Yep. At these levels down here. So I'm going to buy a couple. There we go. See if we can get a bit more out of it. Very short-sighted spike. If I can get a couple more, a bit more movement, I'll be quite happy. Playing a little bit more aggressively than I usually do. And just really riding those quick reactions where I can. So because I've got 2 buy orders, I'm going to click on this side of the depth of market. There we go. I had it set to 2 quantities, so I clicked on that side in line with where the orders actually sat on the bid side. So I want my ask order to connect to the bid side orders that are sitting there so that it can take me out at the price that I'm happy with. Now, so far today, we're at $750 up. Well, that's euro, I should say, because basically the DAX is in euro. We're $870 up. So almost a third of the way. I'm probably going to leave it there for today's session. Pretty well textbook trading. If I had have had the nuggets to hang into this short position, basically I probably would have overshot the 30% rule, and then I would have had a far bigger target to try and hit because I've made too much money in the trade. What happened was I closed out, I wasn't confident. The market did exactly what I thought it was going to do, that I wasn't able to sort of hang in there. But I saw a reaction. Now, what I looked for, we had really thin volume pushing all the way down almost to the close gap. That's basically filled, I would say, or close enough. We opened a new 5-minute candle, and look at that volume. It basically just started, there's a flurry of activity right at that new candle, in line with reaching that close gap or close enough to. I'll just double check the points. It's about 3 points. So I consider that filled now, and I hit buy at market, and I got in for 2 contracts once we kind of had a bit of a rejection, and the market shot up. I'm not sure the reaction will continue on and will keep going up, but basically at $870 on this first day for this Apex Trader funding, I'm very happy with that. I don't want to make more than $1,000 every day because of that 30% rule. So that's something that you've got to kind of make sure that you don't overshoot your first day or your first few days in particular, because then you'll have a much bigger target profit before you can get funded. So 29 contracts, this thing is probably going up. Because I'm only $100 odd away from the maximum I want to make for the day before I make it harder than it needs to be, I'm not going to take the risk today. I'm going to wait until tomorrow, come back again, have another go, and hopefully we'll be getting far closer to that target. So basically that's probably it for me today, guys. Odd Project or anyone in the chat, I do have a couple of free accounts. Just let me know if you'd like that free account. I've got 2 left. They do have an expiry on them. You can choose any size Apex Trader Funding account, any platform, and they're basically just a free code, so you can go in and have a go at them. I think they expire at the end of this month, so let me know in the chat, guys. I'll let you know how you can win. Appreciate you coming and watching the session. It was quite a good day today, so 873 on a 50k account. 2 trades. I got out of the short early because I wasn't confident, probably a little bit gun shy from yesterday's session, simply because we just had that power up buy that the DAX often has. So the DAX is often very bullish. It just ignored all the signals and all the levels that I usually look at, which does happen quite a bit. It's just being ready to get out of those trades if they do occur. So anyone in the chat, if you do want to win, just let me know in the chat. Let me know. Basically, it's a free account, so it doesn't cost you anything, and you can have a crack at any size account. It's free for a month, so obviously if you want it to remain free, just try and pass within the month or not. And basically, that'll be me for today's session. Really very good trading. So I got in quite heavy for the size account, and I got out very quickly. So I'm not hovering around and waiting. I'm taking a new approach at the moment, just really diving in heavy and having a go. So it worked out today, which is great. Just noting that 30% rule. I don't want to make too much in any one day. Otherwise it pushes the end result target out, and that's not really what I want. So just watching this interaction here to see if I could have held. And just watching this volume profile to see if it pans out. So this is effectively what I would call a fade of the gap. A little rejection. Now, it depends whether the market's going to continue fading it, because we've already seen a fade, or it's going to simply plummet. Just had a bit of intel that somebody's going short quite heavily across a range of different markets. But yeah, this could be a fade of the gap. We might see a bit more buying come in before we drop through this level. We'll see if it... there we go. That 14 contract looks like it was a limit order for a seller saying, right, we've touched that close gap, and then we're going to go short, followed by aggressive buying. Or it could be considered the other way around. So with the bid and ask, you've really got to consider who is buying and who is selling in that 18 contracts there. Sometimes that could be aggressive buyers. So we'll just have to see how that volume profile pans out. But as far as trading for me, guys, I'm done, I'm out. The max I could make without pushing my total target out is what, $130 thereabouts. So I'm quite happy to call it there. Good stuff. Okay. Now, just watching to see what would happen. It's good to, I guess, watch the reactions, watch and understand how it kind of plays a part. Thanks, Odd Project. I don't know if you heard about the free account, but I do have one available if you're open to that. But yeah, with the order flow, so all my order flow knowledge basically comes from Trader Dale. He's a YouTuber as well, and he kind of describes what to look for in the bid and ask in the order flow. But basically, see how it's all thin. I don't know if you can see it, but this price action here was so thin compared to up here. Basically, nobody's trading or nobody's actually happy to buy and sell. And then all of a sudden, we've hit these price ranges where I'm looking for activity. And then we started to see a lot of buying and selling. You know, there was buyers, sellers, or bid and ask orders coming in very quickly. And that told me that, okay, there's somebody now in the market. Where would they be taking it after all of this thin activity here? It's more likely, based on the close gap, that they're going to be fading the gap, particularly because the market's not pushing down even faster or accelerating. It's sort of hit a bit of a speed bump, and then the buyers came in and pushed that market up a little bit. So I took advantage of that reaction, and now that reaction is over. So I'm grateful that that I was able to get in for 2 contracts on the FDAX. Good morning, Trek Lord, or afternoon. Thanks for coming back. I didn't get out yesterday of that 300k account trade. So basically we looked, I've got a 50k today, and I'm choosing to go a little bit heavier on my trading, a bit more swift, so I can get in and out rather than holding these positions that I end up, riding out in the wrong direction. Particularly with the trailing drawdown, I think the nature of the apex, I've got to get in and out very quickly. So I traded 2 full contracts. I got in short up here, but I wasn't confident with the order flow. It just didn't look like it was going to sell off as clearly as I guess what it did. So I got out for like $75, and then what happened was we came all the way down, see all this thin order flow, and then we had a flurry of activity on the next 5-minute candle once we hit this close gap, and basically the market had a little push up. I got in for 2 contracts and made €750 or 870 thereabouts USD for today's trading. Now we're kind of hovering around this close gap. It went through, now it's kind of rejecting. I think the market's trying to figure out what direction it wants to go for the rest of the day. But in and out, 50k challenge, $800, which is very close to the maximum of 1,000 that I want to make for the day because of that 30% rule. So already at 1/3 to target, and that's basically the max. Yeah. So if I went to say 1,100, then my total target increases, and I've got to then make more than $3,000 total target. So it's just important to note when you get an Apex account, you don't want to make more than 30% in any one day. So that's basically it. We might get a rejection, we might fall lower, I'm not too sure, but I'm happy that, yeah, exactly, 2 and a bit more days, and we'll basically be done. We'll be funded and be able to collect a paycheck. Yeah, good for the day. Even if I was trading another account, I'm not really sure on what the next move is. It was fairly clear that we were probably going to go for this close gap, an extreme gap. Yeah, exactly. And I can only make another $127, I guess, at a maximum. And there's the risk, obviously, that I'll lose the profits for today. I'll wreck my trailing max drawdown, which is only 2.5k. So we've kept that basically at full mast there, which is great. And yeah, we'll see how it pans out. But we'll come back again tomorrow. Aim for another probably yeah, see if we can get another 1,000 on the table. That'd be great. Obviously, I don't want to get to the 52k. I want to go to 50,873 as a max. 51,873. Yeah, it's very painful when you you have a really good trade and then you kind of get a bit of an ego about it and you think, oh, I'm good at this. But ultimately, the only reason I won was because I felt like I knew where the market was going. Right now I don't, and that's definitely the time where I need to say, okay, that's enough for today. So, and it is Friday too. Great, yeah, thanks for the reminder. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Odd Project, feel free to email me if you do want a free Apex Trader Funding account. I can give you a code. I've got 2 left, so just let me know. I'll give you the email regardless. Just let me know and send me an email. I'll send you a code for a free session. A free Apex account. I'll just type my email into the chat. Trading.com. That should be it. So if you want to email me, I've just popped it in the chat. Obviously, replace the brackets and the @ and I'll send you a free code. You can pick any size, any platform on the Apex Trader Funding. Thank you for coming and watching along. Again, guys, excellent day. Obviously, if we could do this across 20 funded accounts, we'd be in a very good position. So that's the end goal, but slow and steady. Let's see how we go tomorrow. Monday. Monday next week. Best of luck, guys. Enjoy your trading session. See you next week.